Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. For those of you who are watching me for the very first time, my name is James Ambroise, and on this channel, we'll cover how to pay off debt faster than any other debt repayment method out there. We'll cover basic bookkeeping and accounting for someone who just started out a small business. We'll cover basic personal income tax to include a Schedule C, Schedule E, depreciation. I am also the author, creator of Ambroise Method 1.0 and Ambroise Method 2.0. Ambroise Method is a revolutionary debt repayment method that offers greater results in terms of reducing interest cost compared to debt snowball, debt avalanche, velocity banking. Real quick about my credentials. I have been or am a bookkeeper and accountant, QuickBooks Pro advisor, senior tax advisor, residential real estate investor, residential property manager, financial coach. And as always, before we get started with what's on the board, please allow me to shout out the name Jesus, my Lord, my God, my Creator. Thank you. All right, America, on the board we have this hypothetical scenario of somebody who filled out one of my Microsoft Excel worksheets, and the person provided me with these figures. For that, this person has a Chase credit card, Wells Fargo credit card, Navy Federal credit card, car loan. Credit limit 7,000, APR 2949, balance owed 4,500, monthly payment charge 112.50. Availability, America, we've learned on lesson one that the availability is the relationship between the credit limit and the balance owed. That relationship calls for a subtraction operation, 7,000 minus 4,500. That's how we arrive at 2,500. Credit utilization is the relationship between the balance owed and the credit limit. That relationship calls for a division operation, 4,500 divided by 7,000. That's how we arrive at 64.24%. Payment rate charge is the relationship between the monthly payment charge and the balance owed. That relationship calls for a division operation, 112.50 divided by 4,500. That's how we arrive at 2.50%. America Chase is offering balance transfer, and the APR is same as purchase, which means the APR will be 29.49%. And the balance transfer fee is at 4%. Wells Fargo, same thing. Wells Fargo is offering balance transfers. The APR is same as purchase, which means the APR will be 18.24%. It's not a 0% intro, it's not a 1.99% intro. The APR is the same as purchase, which is 18.24. And Wells Fargo is charging 4% for balance transfers. Okay. Navy Federal, same thing. Balance transfer APR is the same, so you'll be $59.9 if you want to take advantage of that balance transfer. And Navy Federal is charging 4% for balance transfers. Okay. On the car loan, it is a 5-year term. Right now, we're inside year 3 of 5. Okay. We're doing a scenario for a single mom. Her income, she's on a bi-weekly pay period. Her first paycheck is on the 6th. Her next paycheck won't come 14 days later until the 20th. Her total take-home pay after tax is $7,048.64. Her expenses $6,649.64. The expense, that's when you add all these amounts that we have on the board, every single one of them, and the total $6,649.64. Out of these expenses, America, $3,454 could go on a credit card. These will be these expenses that could go on a credit card. When you add them up, the total is $3,454. Her debt, $21,874.60. The debt, that's when you add all these balances, 4,500, 1,600, 15,460. That's how we arrive at 21,874.60. Okay. For cash flow, remember America from prior lesson, that cash flow is the relationship between the income and the expense. That relationship calls for a subtraction operation. $7,048.64 minus $6,649.64. That's how we arrive at $399 in cash flow. Alright? Alright, America, I'll give you about 5-10 seconds to take a look at what's on the board, and then we're going to start with the exercise. Alright, America. Real quick, from past lesson, we've talked about how Ambroise Method has two different types of users. Okay. We have what we call a normal user, and we have what we call an advanced user. And remember, America, when you're paying off debt, you're going to come across three main elements, three main assignments, or three main jobs. And these three elements, these three assignments, these three jobs are transfer, alternative account, and cash flow. Okay. And on our method, again, we have two different type of user. A normal user on our method take advantage of transfer, take advantage of cash flow. A normal user on our method do not utilize the alternative account, because the alternative account, America, is a very dangerous account. Okay. So for that reason, a normal user on our method only utilize the checking or savings account to pay off debt. Okay. An advanced user, on the other hand, take full advantage of everything that we have on the board. An advanced user uses transfer. An advanced user take advantage of the alternative account. An advanced user utilizes cash flow. Okay, so that's the main difference. And again, on our method, we have these two type of users. Okay. All right. Now, America, let's pay attention to the balance owed column. Chase balance owed 4,400. Wells Fargo balance owed 1,600. Navy Federal balance owed $340, and a car loan $15,434.60. Now let's isolate the Navy Federal. The balance owed on the Navy Federal, America, is $340. Okay. Meanwhile, single moms, her cash flow is $399. So with the cash flow, America, she could easily pay off the Navy Federal $340. Okay. But just like I've told you guys from prior lesson, do not pay off this account, because this account is at 15.99%. Okay. So meanwhile, we have other account on the board, 29.9%. And we have another one, Wells Fargo, 18.24%. So the APR on those other accounts is much higher. again, we're not going to pay off the Navy Federal 340 because it's at 59%, but instead we're going to take advantage of the availability from the Navy Federal, which is $1,960. Okay. And again, folks, there's no need to be paying off, to try to pay off an account that's at 59% when we have a 29.9% account on the board, when we have an 18.24% account on the board, okay? Especially for those of you who already learned how to employ Ambroise's charge pay technique, okay? And again, for those of you who missed that lesson, Ambroise's charge pay technique is a detailed process where you charge one account. And the account that you charge will be the lower APR account. Then you pay another account. And the account that you pay will be the higher APR account with available cash on hand. Okay. Now, remember, single mom, her total income $7,048.64. Her expenses only $6,649.64. So she made enough money to pay to cover all of her bills. Okay. Yeah. Some of her expenses are quite high. Okay. So I guess at a later time we could talk about how she could kind of reduce some of those expenses. Okay? But for now, this is what we have. Okay? Alright, I'm going to give you 5-10 seconds. Alright, sorry about that. So, she made enough money to cover some of her expenses. Okay? But instead of paying some of this amount with cash, we're going to instead charge the credit card. Okay? And the credit card we're going to charge will be the lower APR account. Okay? Alright. America, Ambroise Method calls for a series of steps, and those steps has to be taken at least once a month. And from past lesson, we went over the steps: segregate, compare, transfer, repeat, cash flow, large payment. Then you have to insert the what, which account, how much of a payment to send and to pay down or off which debt. These are the steps for Ambroise Method, and those steps have to be taken at least once a month. Okay? So now let's segregate. The way we segregate America, we segregate by account type. Okay? We have Chase, that's a credit card, that's revolving credit account. Wells Fargo, that's a credit card, that's revolving credit account. Navy Federal, that's a credit card, that's revolving credit account. Then a car loan, that's an installment credit account. So we have 3 revolving and 1 installment. And the way I like to segregate, I want all the revolving on top and all the installment at the bottom. And to save time, I've already rearranged the list. We have all 3 revolving on top, that 1 installment, which is the car loan, at the bottom. So the list is perfect. Okay. Next time we compare. And the way we compare by APR between account types. Remember, we have 3 revolving and 1 installment. Between the 3 revolvings, okay, the way I like it is to have the higher APR on top than the lower APR at the bottom. So between the 3, 29,490 is higher than 18, 18 is higher than 15. So the list is perfect, okay, as far as comparing. And when we compare in America, we try to identify the enemy, we try to identify the troublemaker. And the enemy is generally the account with the higher APR. The troublemaker is generally the account with the higher APR. So for this reason, Chase is the enemy. Chase is the troublemaker in this particular example. Okay. Next time we're going with transfer. Okay. And the way we transfer America, we always try to relocate balances on a debt that has a higher APR to a debt that has a lower APR. Well, the debt with the higher APR is Chase. The debt with the lower APR is the car loan. Okay. So we're going to try to relocate some of that 4,500 into the 15,43460. But the car loan is a personal loan. We cannot add balances to the personal loan. Okay, so the car loan is a no-go. For that reason, we're going to try to relocate balances from the higher APR, which is Chase 2949, to the next lowest APR account, which is now Navy Federal. Okay, and when we take a look at the Navy Federal has availability, $1,960. So we have room, okay, to make a transfer, okay? And remember, today we will be employing Ambroise's charge pay technique, normal. So we'll be charging the lower APR account. So the lower APR account now is Navy Federal. So we'll be charging Navy Federal. But James, by how much? Because altogether, we could put $3,454. We could charge lower APR accounts up to $3,454. But Navy Federal availability is only $1,960. Okay? So we cannot put the entire $3,454 on the Navy Federal. Okay? So it has to be an amount that is lower than $1,960. Okay? And behind the scene, I've already identified the account, the bills that will charge the Navy Federal with, and these will be the restaurant, $220. Beauty and skincare, $700, will go on the Navy Federal. And clothes and shoes, $880, will go on the Navy Federal. Okay, excuse me. So when we add these up, restaurant $220, plus beauty and skincare $700, plus clothes and shoes $880. Okay. I'm going to calculate 0, 2, 0, 2 plus 8 is 10. 1, 2 is 3, 3, 7, 10, 10 plus 8 is 18. So we could put on the Navy Federal 1,800. Because remember, we only have 1,960 available. So we're gonna charge Navy Federal 1,800 bucks. Okay. Now remember, the total is 3,454. Okay. But again, because Navy Federal availability is only 1960, we're only gonna charge it 1,800. Okay. So that'll be the charge part. And at a later time, we're going to pay the higher APR account. And the higher APR account is Chase. All right. So now let's run some numbers. Okay. Chase. For now, we'll stay the same. Okay. But we're not paying yet. We're only going to be dealing with the charge part for now. Okay. At least on paper. Okay. Just so we could have some numbers. Chase monthly 112.50, 2,500, 64.29%, 250. Okay. Wells Fargo, we're not dealing with Wells Fargo as of yet, so Wells Fargo will stay the same. 3,500, 1824, 1,600, 32 bucks. And again, we're not touching Wells Fargo as of yet. 1,900, 45.71, 2%. Okay. Navy Federal. We did say we're going to charge Navy Federal. The restaurant 220, beauty and skincare 700, and clothes and shoes 880 for a total of 1,800. So Navy Federal. Credit limit 2,300. 59.9. Balance owed. We're gonna charge Navy Federal 1,800, which is these three. So the original balance was 340. Plus, we're gonna charge it 1,800 bucks. So now the new balance is 340 plus 1,800. New balance now is 2,140. Navy Federal charge $20 or overall flat fee of $240. Whichever is greater. So 2,140 times 240% is 51.36. Availability is credit limit minus balance owed. So 2,300 minus 2,140 is 160. And the credit utilization is balance owed divided by credit limit. So 2,140 divided by 2,300. 9304. Okay. And with did say that the payment rate charge is $240, but let's run it again just for good measure. Payment rate charge is monthly payment charge $51.36 divided by balance owed $21.40. Sure enough, we're at 240%. Okay. And the car loan, we did not touch the car loan, so car loan will stay the same for now. $15,434.60. Monthly payment $566.14. Availability, it's a personal loan, so it doesn't matter. Credit utilization is a personal loan, doesn't matter. Payment rate charge, let's put it on the board, 3.67%. Alright, I'm going to recap. Okay? We're going to be employing Ambroise's charge pay technique normal. So we could take advantage of the bills that could go on a credit card in order for us to relocate balances from the debt that has the higher APR to a debt that has a lower APR. Okay? So we're going to be relocating 1,800 of the 45 to the Navy Federal. So for that reason, Navy Federal will get increased by 1,800. So 340 plus 1,800, that's how we arrive at 2,140. Okay? And at a later time, we're going to pay the higher APR account, which is Chase. Okay? But for now, on paper, we're just dealing with the charge part on paper. Okay? Just so we could get some numbers. Okay? All right. In real life, things will work slightly different, but on paper, we will need to know our numbers, so we're going to run the charge part first. Okay. Now, we've made one transfer. Okay. We know that the 4,500 will get reduced at a later time by 1,800. So the 4,500 minus 1,800 when the paycheck finally comes in. Okay. So Chase will have a remainder balance of 2,700. Okay. Which means that the higher APR account still has a balance. Okay? Because it will be 4,500 minus the 1,800. Okay? That will be the payment portion. Because remember, we're charging and then we're paying at a later time. Okay? So 2,700. Okay? That'll be Chase. Okay? Now, going back to the steps, segregate, compare, transfer. We've done one transfer so far, at least one leg of it, okay? By employing Ambroise's charge pay technique normal, okay? Is there opportunity for us, America, to repeat the transfer, okay? Now, these two are done. When we take a look at the Wells Fargo has availability, America, 1,900. And Wells Fargo is at a lower APR, 1824, because 1824 is lower than 2949. And again, on our method, you know we hate to have to babysit balances from our APR account. We know that 4,500 is going to become 2,700. So if we have 2,700, can we relocate some of that 2,700 into the lower APR account, which is Wells Fargo. Okay? Wells Fargo again has availability, 1,900. Okay? Now, the remainder bills that could go on a credit card, remember the total is $34.54, which means now that the remainder that could go on a credit card, because if we're gonna charge the Navy 1,800, in total we have $34.54. So $34.54 minus 1,800 we have 1654 that could still go on a credit card. Okay? 1654 out of the total that could still go on a credit card. So when we take a look again at the Wells Fargo, the availability is 1900. Okay? So we have enough to cover 1654. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna put the remainder bills that could go on a credit card, this time on the Wells Fargo. So Wells Fargo gonna take all of these. Okay, and the total is 1,654. Okay, and this one the total was 1,800. All right. All right. So we're going to charge the Wells Fargo 1,654. Okay. Doing the steps when we're repeating the transfer. Okay. So now Chase will stay the same because remember we're still charging, we're not paying yet. Okay. So Chase will stay the same, 7,000. APR 2949. Okay. 4,500. 112.50. 2,500. 64.29. 250%. Okay. All right. Now Wells Fargo, we say we're going to charge Wells Fargo 3,500. 1824. Now, balance owed. Remember, we're going to charge Wells Fargo. We're going to put on the Wells Fargo all these bills. And the total is 1,654. Wells Fargo original balance is 1,600. So you'll be 1,600 plus the new charge, 1,654. So at least on paper, Wells Fargo will be 3,254. Okay? Payment rate charge is 2% of the balance owed. So 3,254 times 2%. So we're at 6508. Okay. Availability is credit limit minus balance owed. So 3,500 minus 3,254. So we had 246. credit utilization is balance owed divided by credit limit. So 3254 divided by 3500. So we at 92.97. And we did say it's 2%. Payment wage charge, monthly payment charge 6508 divided by balance owed 3254. Sure enough, we are at 2%. Okay. Navy Federal. $2,300, $15.99, $21.40, $51.36. We've already dealt with Navy Federal earlier. 160, 93.04, 2.40%. And the car loan, we did not touch the car loan, so the car loan stays the same. 30 grand, 5%. $15,434.60, 566.14. Availability not applicable, not applicable. 3.67%. Okay. All right, now America to recap. Earlier we charged the Navy Federal $1,800, but the total that could go on the credit card is $3,454, which means the remainder was $1,654. Okay, so now on the second transfer we charge the next lowest APR account, which is Wells Fargo, by $1,654. The original balance was $1,600. 1,600 plus 1,664, that's how we arrive at 3,254. Okay. All right. So on the charge part, the two lower APR account, Navy, 1,800, and Wells Fargo, we charge Wells Fargo $1,654. Okay. Which means at a later time we're gonna pay the higher APR account, which is Chase, the total. And we've already established that the total is $34.54. So far we've executed the charge portion, and later on we'll do the pay portion. Okay? Because we're employing Ambroise's charge pay technique, while we charge the lower APR account, this time we're doing a combination. We're doing a little bit, we're allocating a little bit to the Navy Federal, and we're allocating the remainder to the Wells Fargo. Okay? And then we're gonna pay the higher APR account when those income or the paychecks start coming in. Okay? $34.54. All right, America, I'll give you about 5-10 seconds to take a look at what's on the board real quick, and then we're going to continue with the exercise. All right, America. know that Chase will get decreased by at least 3,454. Chase balance from the original example is only 4,500. Okay. So look at the credit utilization on the Wells Fargo 9297. Look at the credit utilization on the Navy Federal 9304. Okay. Now, America, we are done with transfer, or we are done with all the items that are above the line. There goes the line. Okay. Now, since the items that are above the lines have been completely exhausted, okay, we cannot do any more transfer. Okay. So now we're gonna go below the line. Okay, we're gonna go downstairs, and below the line we have to ask some questions. Can we use cash flow, or can we make a large payment? Okay. Single mom during this period did not receive any income tax refund. Single mom during this period did not receive any bonus check. Single mom during this period did not receive any additional fund that would constitute or represent a large payment. So we do not have any large payment, which means we're going to be dealing with cash flow. Okay? So now, America, let's figure out how much our new cash flow is. When we take a look at the monthly payments charge, Chase was $112.50, and the way we determine our cash flow, we add the amount, the original amount on the monthly payments charge minus the new amount. Or we could just add only for the account that were affected. Okay? So Chase, the monthly payments charge $112.50. This one stays $112.50, so that one did not get affected. Wells Fargo, it was $32. Now it becomes $65.08, so Wells Fargo did get affected. Navy Federal, it was $20. Now it's $51.36, so that one got affected. And the car loan 566.14 stayed $566.14. So the two accounts that got affected is Wells Fargo and Navy Federal. Okay. So it will be Wells Fargo $30 plus Navy Federal $20 minus the new amount, minus Wells Fargo $65.08 minus Navy Federal $51.36. Okay. So our cash flow, America, will get decreased by $64.44. The original cash flow was $399, so now you'll be $399 minus $64.44, which means now that our new cash flow is $334.56 on paper. Okay. So now we've determined what our new cash flow is. We have to answer the rest of the questions. We have to answer the what now. W, which account or accounts to use. Okay. On our method, America, we always look for the account for greater results. So that is our first in line this is generally the account with the higher APR, because when we send payment to the higher APR, we have greater results in terms of reducing interest cost. Okay? And the account with the higher APR is Chase. 2949, so that will be Chase. Okay. On our method, America, we always look for the account that will offer us greater liquidity. So that will be next in line. Or greater liquidity. Okay. Now let's take a look at the list. We have Chase credit card. Chase is a credit card. We said the amount that could go on credit card was $3,454, so that was the amount that could go on a credit card is limited because the expense is a lot higher, $6,649. So Chase can offer us greater liquidity. We have Wells Fargo, again, that's another credit card, can offer us greater liquidity. We have Navy Federal, again, that's another credit card, cannot offer us greater liquidity. We have the car loan, that's a personal loan. Personal loan cannot offer us greater liquidity. So for that reason, America, our regular checking account will offer us liquidity. And on our method, America, we always look for movements. The account for better movements of income and expenses. Okay. And the account that we use for movement on our method is generally, not always, but generally the account that has the higher APR, where we've already established that Chase has the higher APR. Okay. And the reason why we use this movement is when we have movement of income coming into an alternative account for an advanced user now, because a normal user does not use alternative account. When we have movement of income coming into the account and movement of expenses going out of the account. So even when we have a scenario where we have a wash, where we employ Ambroise's wash technique, for those of you who missed that lesson, Ambroise's wash technique is a technique whereby the same dollar amount that comes into the alternative account, let's say it's $1,000, is the same dollar amount that goes out of the alternative account. Say this one is also $1,000. So same amount of income that comes in, same amount of expenses that goes out. So it's a wash. Okay, hence the name Ambroise's wash technique. And we cover all of that from past lessons at work. Okay, so and for this movement, even in a scenario where we have same income coming in and same income going out, okay, as long as there's a little bit of time in between, okay, you're still gonna improve on that APR position, okay? So that's why we use this movement. Okay? For example, let's say on the Chase, for example, we had 4,500. If we have income coming in to where 1,000 to where it becomes 4,400, because income gonna reduce. Because income that's equivalent to a payment is going to reduce that balance to 4,400. Then later on, we charge that account by, let's say, another 1,000. So now it's back to the same 4,500 where we started from, because remember, it's a wash. Okay? The overall interest charge on that account will still get reduced. So if we didn't do anything, the interest charge will be, say for example, X, but because we have this movement, okay, the interest charge will be less than that X. Okay? Alright? So that's why we use this movement, America. Alright? Just for having movement of this account, you're gonna save money. You're gonna save on interest. Okay? Even if it's a wash scenario, so long there's a little bit of time in between. The income comes in, and then there's like a few more days before the expenses goes out. Okay? If there's a time in between, you're still gonna save money, as opposed to if you did not do anything. Okay. All right. Now, we have our three accounts. We have Chase for greater results in terms of reducing interest costs. We have the checking account for greater liquidity, and we have Chase again for movements. Okay. So when we look at the list, we have Chase at two different places. Okay. So we have what I refer to as redundancy. Okay. So for that reason, we're not going to send payment to Chase and then at a later time send payment to the same Chase. Okay. So because we have redundancy, we do not need this movement. So we're going to take it off the board. Okay. All right. So now we have our two accounts. We have Chase for greater results, and we have the checking account for greater liquidity. And again, we normally look for these three accounts. The only time we don't use one is when we have redundancy. Okay. All right, so now let's figure out our numbers. The regular monthly payment for Chase on paper is $112.50. The bills that could go on a credit card, we say were $3,450. So that would be bills that could go on a credit card. Or the pay portion, because remember we're employing Ambroise's charge pay technique. Okay, earlier we charged the two lower APR account, which was Wells Fargo and Navy Federal. So at a later time we could pay the higher APR account, which is Chase. Okay, so bills that could go on a credit card slash the pay portion on our charge pay technique. Okay, and we identified that the pay portion will be $3,454. Okay. Then we have cash flow. Okay. We say our new cash flow was 33456. Okay. And possibly absorptions or absorption opportunity. Okay. All right. Let's leave absorption alone for now. Let's go down to the checking account for greater liquidity. Okay. Remember, single mom, her total income will be $7,048.64. So let's figure out how much will go to our next account. So it's $7,048.64 minus all these amounts. $112.50 minus 3454 minus 33456. So the checking account will receive $3,147 $1.58. Okay. So which means, and when we add these three to see how much Chase will keep, so far it's 112.50 plus 3454 plus 33456. Chase will be 3,000. Chase will be 3,000. Let's see, absorption. Total for Chase, $3,901.06. That'll be the total for Chase when we add all these three up. $3,901.06. Okay. And the checking account will keep 314,758. Okay. All right. So again, we try to answer the questions. Which account? So we know it will be Chase in the checking account. Okay. How much? So Chase America will keep 3,900.0106, and the checking account will keep 3,147.58. Okay. All right. And the last and final questions to answer: to pay down or off which debt? Okay. That'll be the workflow. All right. All right. Single mom will receive a paycheck on the 6th, and the next one will be on the 20th. Okay. So now let's assume, America, that these two paychecks are equal. Okay. So 70, 48, 64 divided by 2. So one paycheck will be 3,524.34. The next paycheck will be 3,524.34. Okay. Now, on the first paycheck, which touched down on the 6th of the month, paycheck touched down the checking account. So now where does the money go? Okay. This is when, America, you have to pay attention to the due date, especially for bills that you need cash or cash equivalent for. Okay. All these are due on the 28th: electricity, water, YouTube TV, Netflix, T-Mobile, groceries. There's no due date for groceries, but she could decide to have her groceries done on the at the end of the month. Fuel, restaurant, beauty and skincare, clothes and shoes. And fuel, she could decide to put, well, she can put down on a credit card on a Wells Fargo. Okay. It's $380, but it's gonna be kind of proportion to when she actually put fuel in the vehicle, but the total is $340. Okay. Her daughter allowance is due on the 7th, and it's $90. So she has to zell that money to her daughter account for $90. So this one's coming up on the 7th. Okay. The paycheck on the 6th, America, will cover anything between the 6th through the 19th. Okay. And the paycheck on the 20th will take care of everything between the 20th all the way towards the end of the month. Okay. So now, the daughter allowance due on the 7th. So that has to be on the first paycheck. It will be $90. The prepaid college tuition for the benefit of our daughter is due on the 7th, $115. And it's an ACH payment. So that has to be on the first paycheck. The car insurance is due on the 9th. That for $160, that also has to be on the first paycheck. And the house rent is due on the 10th, $2,100. That has to be on the first paycheck. And again, folks, that this house rent is not always due on the first. Depends on the state where you live, where you are in. It could be any time during the month. Okay. In the state where she's in, it's due on the 10th, or she has it prorated for the 10th. Or you could have some kind of proration to where you change the due date. Okay. If that will help you. All right. So her house rent is due on the 10th, $2,100. Okay. Chase credit card is due on the 28th, $112.50. $112.50. Wells Fargo is due on the 28th. It used to be $32, but it's now $65.08. Navy Federal used to be $20, and it's now $51.36. And the car loan, we did not touch the car loan, so the car loan stays the same. 56.14. Okay. And all these are due on the 28th, towards the end of the month, so they're not going to create any problem. So now the amount that we need cash or cash equivalent for is the daughter allowance, $90. Prepaid college for the benefit of our daughter, $115. Car insurance due on the 9th, $160. And house rent due on the 10th, $2,100. Okay. So because we need cash for these items, we have to reserve the cash in the checking account on the first paycheck. Okay, so let's see how much those are real quick. So we have $90 plus $115 plus $160 plus $2,100. Excuse me. Excuse me. So total sorry about that. So the total, when you add these up, is $2,465. That will keep in the checking account, because these are my unit. Excuse me. You need cash for these items. Okay? Which means, America, that Chase will receive the remainder on the first paycheck. Okay? Again, that was the 90 plus 115 plus 160 plus 2100, 2465. Then Chase will receive the remainder minus 3524. 34. So Chase will receive $1,059.34 on the first paycheck. Okay. So now, on the next paycheck, America, which is on the 20th, the checking account on the first paycheck received $2,464, but the total that needs to go on the checking account is $3,147.58. So now the remainder is the $31,47.58 minus 65. On the second paycheck, the checking account will keep $682.58. Okay. Chase now on the second paycheck. Chase only received so far $1,059.34 out of $3,901.06. So it'll be $3,901.06 minus $1,059.34. So now Chase will receive the additional $2,841.72. Okay? So when we add these two up, it should be the total 3534.24. So 2841.72 plus 682.58. Sure enough, 3524.30. 3524. Looks like I made a mistake somewhere. Let's see, 2465 minus 3524.34, 1059.34, 3901.06 minus 1059.34, 2141.72 plus 682.58. Looks like I made a mistake somewhere. Let me double check my numbers. 3524.34. 90 plus 115 plus 160 plus 2465. Perfect. Minus 3524.34, 1059.34. Okay. So we're good here. 314,758 minus 2465, 682.58, 682.58 minus 3524.34. Okay, perfect. The chase 2841.76, not 72, but 76. Again, when we add these two up, $682.58 plus 2841.76. So now the total 352434. Perfect. Now our number is perfect. All right. So now, America, we've determined how much needs to go on which paycheck. Okay. So now let's figure out how we're gonna pay those bills. Okay. We've already established that the Wells Fargo will charge the Wells Fargo all of these. And the total was, I believe it was $16.54. Okay. The restaurant, beauty, skincare, and clothes, Navy Federal will take care of those. The total is $1,800. So all these gonna get paid by Wells Fargo on the 28th, or whenever the bill is due for these two. And 800 will be charged, and the Navy Federal will take care of the remainder 3. Okay? So between Wells Fargo and Navy Federal, all these gonna get taken care of. Okay? The daughter allowance, the checking account will take care of that. Checking account will take care of these. Checking account will take care of these. Okay? On the due date, which is on the 7th, on the 7th, on the 9th, and on the 10th. The Chase will observe its own, will take care of that bill. We'll observe the $112.50. Wells Fargo is due on the 28th. The checking account will pay this Wells Fargo. The checking account will take care of the Navy. The checking account will take care of the car loan. Okay? Now, even though these 3 are due on the 28th, 28th, 26th, when the money finally hit the checking account, okay? Because on the first paycheck, the checking account will take care of these. On the second paycheck, which is $682.58, okay? And that would be the Wells Fargo, $65.08. Navy Federal, $51.06, $51.36. And the car loan, $566.14. When we add them up, it should be the $682.58. And let's run it. $65.08 plus $51.36 plus $566.14. Sure enough, $682.58, like we knew he was, on the second paycheck. $682. Okay? Now, on the second paycheck, as soon as the money touched down the second paycheck on the 20th, okay? Even though the Wells Fargo is due on the 28th, don't wait on the 28th. Okay? Send the payment quickly to the Wells Fargo 465.08 on the 28th. On the 20th, 20, send the payment quickly to the Navy Federal, even though the Navy Federal is due on the 28th. Don't wait on the 28th. Send it on the 20 date. 5136, that's the Navy. And the car loan, 566, even though it's due 6 days later, don't wait on the 26th to send the payment. Send it on the day of the paycheck, which is the 20th, 20. Okay? Why? Because on the checking account, you might be earning nothing, so 0%, all the way to maybe 2%. Meanwhile, on this account, you're being charged. On the Wells Fargo, you're being charged $18.24. On the Navy, you're being charged $15.99. And on the car loan, you're being charged 5%. Okay? Sometimes on the car loan, they have DMR pre-calculated or not. That might make a difference, but if it's not, since the interest charges on these accounts are much higher than what you're earning on the checking account. So for that reason, do not leave the funds on the checking account on the day of the paycheck. On the day of the paycheck, move the funds quickly and make those payments, even though those payments are not due yet. Okay? So in the case of Wells Fargo, you'll be 8 days earlier. So 20 minus 28, that's 8 days. In the case of Navy, 8 days earlier. In the case of, for the car loan, it'll be 6 days earlier. So send the payment on the day of the paycheck. Okay? So send the payment early to these accounts. Okay? Because remember, we have to have situational awareness always. If I'm being charged $18.24, I shouldn't be keeping the funds in an account where I'm earning 0 to 2% when I'm being charged somewhere else. $18.24, a difference of $16.24. Okay? And again, folks, move the funds quickly, send the payment quickly from the checking account to these accounts, to this debt on the second paycheck. Okay? All right? All right, America. I'll give you about 5-10 seconds to take a look at what's on the board, and then we're going to continue with the exercise. All right, America. Now, after everything's said and done, the Chase will receive $3,901.06. The balance on the Chase is only $4,500. So Chase, it will be the $4,500. That'll be the pay part, because remember earlier we charged Wells Fargo, we charged Navy Federal, so we could later on send a payment to the Chase with the cash now, because we didn't have to pay these bills with those two credit cards. Once we pay these bills with those two credit cards, okay, now $3,454 is free, okay? So we could send that payment now to the Chase. At least $3,454. Well, you'll be the $3,454 plus the $112 plus the $34, altogether $39,0106. Okay. So which means now the Chase will have a new balance of $4,500 minus $39,0106. Okay. Chase new balance will be 59894. Okay. As you could see earlier, we briefly mentioned how somebody who follows that snowball and some factions of velocity banking will rush in and pay off this low balance 340. But remember, Navy Federal was only at 59%. Okay? So at some point, you were going to pay 29.49 on 4,500. And after everything's said and done, you're going to be paying 29.49 only on 500. $598.94. As you could see, how much interest you're going to be saving on the chase, which is the higher APR account. Okay? So that is why America, we take our time. We don't rush in and start paying accounts. Okay? In the case of that snowball, wants to attack the lowest balance first. Okay? Do not attack that lower balance because it's at 59, and instead you need to take advantage of the availability from the lower APR account, from the lowest balance account. Okay? And now, since you guys already learned how to employ Ambroise's charge pay technique, there's really no need now to be paying off low balances that are on a low APR, when you could easily move balances from high APR to low APR. Okay? So there's no need at all, okay, to be paying lower balance, because you guys now know how to move balances from one account to another easily. Okay? That way you won't be charged more interest for no reason. Look at this one, 29.49. This one's only 15.99. A difference of, let's see, 29.49 minus 15.99. Okay. A difference of 13.5%. 9,900,914, that's 5, 6, 9, that's 3. Perfect. 13.5%. Okay? So there's no need for you to allow yourself to get charged an additional 13.5% just so you could attack a low balance. Okay? This is equivalent to madness. There's no need, because now you know how to move balances from one account to another when you employ Ambroise's charge pay technique. Okay? And today we've done 2 of them. We charged the Navy Federal, that was 1, and we charged the Wells Fargo, that's 2. Okay? For the total that could go on a credit card, $34.54. Okay? So we put $1,800 on the Navy Federal, we put the remainder $1,654 for the total $3,454 to the remainder to the Wells Fargo. Okay? All right, and this is how you save the most interest. Okay? By relocating these balances from higher APR to lower APR, you automatically saving interest. Okay? In addition to all of that, we're also using alternative account for an advanced user. Okay? In addition to cash flow. Okay? All right, America, I'll give you about 5-10 seconds to take a look at what's on the board, and then we're going to continue with the exercise. America. Now, if we took advantage of balance transfer from the Navy Federal will charge us 4%. If we took advantage of the balance transfer from Wells Fargo will also charge us 4%. Meanwhile, when we employed Ambroise's charge pay technique, Ambroise charge pay technique cost us 0%. Did not cost us anything. Okay, folks? So they were going to charge us 4% in the case of Navy Federal and 3% in the case of Wells Fargo. Meanwhile, we could just employ one of our artificial type of balance transfers, which is Ambroise's charge pay technique, where it doesn't cost us anything to move at least 3,454, okay, from the higher, to relocate that amount from the higher APR to the lower APR, those two lower APR, Wells Fargo and Navy Federal, okay, cost us nothing, 0%. So as you could see, America, just like I mentioned from past lesson, each time that you are able, okay, to transfer, to make a transfer where it costs you nothing, okay, you're taking away from the big bank, the big creditors, an important source of revenue. Because remember, big banks, big creditors make billions in balance transfers and other fees. They make billions in balance transfers and other fees. Okay, so now you know a way to at least employ Ambroise's charge pay technique where you do not need the help of the big bank, the big creditors. So in essence, you will be disrupting that billion-dollar industry. Each time that you are able to employ Ambroise's charge pay techniques. Okay. And again, you will be disrupting a billion-dollar industry because now you don't need them, you know, in order to execute balance transfers, because you could use your own balance transfers without the help of the big bank, the big creditors, by employing Ambroise's charge pay technique. And again, folks, Ambroise's charge pay technique is a detailed process where you charge the lower APR accounts. In this example, we charge two of them, Navy Federal and Wells Fargo. Then at a later time, you could pay the higher APR account with available cash on hand. Okay. All right. Now, as far as credit score, let's take a look at the credit utilization. On the Wells Fargo, the credit utilization was 4571. On the Navy Federal, the credit utilization was only 1478. When we make these transfers, America, the credit utilization went up on the Navy Federal, 92.97. And he also went up, on the Wells Fargo, 92.97. It also went up on the Navy Federal, 93.04. Okay. Doing this type of transfers, America, should not hurt your credit score. Even though you went all the way up to 90, 92, and 97, 92, 97, and 93.04. Okay? Because remember, all that you're doing, you're just moving balances from one account to another. Okay? At the end of it all, The the Chase one will get reduced as well. Because remember now, the new balance 598.94. Let's run that real quick. 598.94 after the payment is posted, divided, so it will be balance owed divided by credit limit, which is 7,000. Should be about 8.56%, about that amount under credit utilization. For Chase, after the payment is posted. Okay? And again, folks, it's 598, will be the new balance once you send that payment in. Okay? The 390106. So 598.94 divided by, because remember, credit utilization is new balance divided by credit limit. The credit limit is 7,000. So 598.94 divided by 7,000. I'm sorry. Yes, divided by 7,000. That's how we arrive at the 8.56%. Okay. So the way they compute the credit utilization, they're not looking at one account by itself. Even the Wells Fargo is 92.97. It's not just the Wells Fargo. Okay? It's going to be the global, all your trade lines. Okay? Okay? So it'll be the 92.97, the 93.04, plus the new one, 8.56, okay? And everything should be the same. Because remember, all we've done was relocating balance from one place to another. So the total balance should be about the same, okay? And the credit limit hasn't changed, okay? So everything should be about the same. The only thing that might hurt you is maybe timing, okay? Because remember, like I mentioned from a past lesson, those big banks, those big creditors, our government allow them to do whatever they want. So you got one that report at a certain time in the month, you got another one that report at a different time of the month. So there's no uniformity as to when they report to those credit bureaus. So because of that timing, meanwhile, you might have increase on one account, so the timing might hurt you a little bit. But after everything's settled in, everything should be the same. Because again, all you've done was relocating balances from one account to another. The total balance should still be the same. Okay? So there shouldn't be any hit at all to your credit score. Okay? All right, America. I'll give you about 5-10 seconds to take a look at this real quick, and then we're going to continue with the exercise. All right, America. Just like I've mentioned from past lesson, this Ambroise's charge pay technique is the superstar. Look, America, how we were able to relocate balances. A balance on the Chase that was 4,500. Okay, we reduce it all the way, America, to 598.94, less than 600 bucks. It was 4,500. Now it's in just 1 month, or less than a month, really, it will be less than $600. Okay. Again, folks, now that you know how to relocate balances from one account to another, there's no need to rush in and start paying off lower balances. Okay? So take your time, okay? Reshuffle the deck first, rearrange things first before you start going all crazy and start sending cash flow to lower balance account, because there's no need for you to be doing that at all when you already know, again, how to employ Ambroise's charge pay technique. We don't want 44,500 on 29 and being charged 29.49% on 4,500. We would much prefer to be charged 29.49% only on $598.94 America. How beautiful. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. All right, America. I think that's it for me today. My name is James Ambroise. I am the author, creator of Ambroise Method 1.0 and Ambroise Method 2.0. Ambroise Method is a revolutionary debt repayment method that offers greater results in terms of reducing interest cost compared to debt snowball, debt avalanche, velocity backing. Thank you, Jesus. Until next time, America. Good morning.